Thumbs up if you use a calendar. That should be everybody. Guess what? You time block. If you use a calendar, you're time blocking already. So now it's just a matter of, can we build in a little more strategic time blocking, whether it's officially on your calendar or not, in order to map out the day. So there's an overall distribution. This is one method of time blocking, which means you're not saying you're going to do documentation Monday morning, analysis Tuesday morning. What this is showing is this is roughly how many hours in the upcoming week that you want to spend on your various responsibilities. So it helps give you an overall check of, this is what I need to be focused on for the upcoming week. I should spend maybe 5 hours in total in this responsibility, 2 hours in total on that responsibility. It helps give your brain an idea of where your time needs to go. So that way, if Wednesday rolls around and you haven't spent time on one of your responsibilities you said you needed to, you can readjust your schedule during the week. Something else to be aware of when building in time to your schedule is that unexpected cushion or padding time. Raise your right hand if you work with humans. Raise your left hand if you use technology. All right, if you work with humans and you use technology, your day is never going to go according to plan. Thank you, everybody, for participating. So because your day will never go according to plan, it's really important to build in that cushion into your schedule. A lot of people think that productivity means every minute of your day is scheduled out. That is not the case. If you try to do that, you will be disappointed because things happen. The unexpected crops up every single day. That's why it's really important to build in some buffers to your week. So, and this is where patterns can come in. Do you have an average of 30 minutes a day that you spend on the unexpected, an hour a day on the unexpected, the questions and requests that come in? So it's really important to build that in. Here is another example of time blocking. This is for somebody who works in IT within a manufacturing company. In a perfect world, they'd be able to have the same overall time distribution at the same times every single day, but they never know what their day is going to be like. So what they do is they use an overall time distribution for the day and then just adjust it for each day of the week. They're never doing the same thing at the same time every single day, but because they've thought through this plan, they have an idea of how much time to spend in their various responsibilities. So this is another way that you can time block. Adjust your time blocks, your distribution of time on a daily basis instead of for the overall week. This is for somebody who was hired for customer service and then also assigned accounts receivable because of a staffing shortage. That made no sense, but that's a whole other workshop. So she was doing the accounts receivable in the evenings and never finishing. And her department was behind on collecting revenue. So they were in a heap of trouble. What we did was for her time blocks, we made her accounts receivable, the carrier approvals, we made that her non-negotiable high priority 5 at the very beginning of the day. And the rest of the day, she could Tetris. Remember that video game from the 80s, Tetris? She just moves her time blocks around. She identified a pattern of she tends to have a lot of fires at midday and mid-afternoon. So she did her best to schedule meetings around that so she could be available during those times. Did it work out every single time? That's when a fire happened? No, but because she had these cushion times built into her calendar, she was never under a huge amount of stress because she knew in the next cushion time she had, she could go ahead and address that. So building in cushion time is very important. You don't have to have an entire day time blocked. You can just have a portion of the morning, maybe 15 minutes or 30 minutes, or for some folks, it might be 30 minutes in mid-morning. For those of you who feel comfortable time blocking a bigger chunk of time, then go for it, because having that kind of structure in your day can really help. There's one manager who I worked with where she time blocked Thursdays for one-to-ones. because she realized that was a challenge she was having, is having one-to-ones with her direct reports. So when she identified Thursdays time blocked for her one-to-ones, all of her direct reports knew, go to her Thursday calendar, schedule the one-to-one, and it worked beautifully. There was another leader who realized it's her job to answer questions when people are struggling, but at the same time she was constantly being interrupted throughout the day. So what she started doing is office walkthroughs. She'd just go through the office, and everybody knew at that time that's when you needed to run over to her, ask her as many questions as you could. She would do that in the morning, she would do that in the afternoon, and it scaled back tremendously on the amount of interruptions she had. So she time blocked that into her schedule based on the patterns that she identified. So don't feel like you have to time block all day long. You can just time block a couple of areas just to have this basically an idea of your overall time distribution, to make sure you have time to identify those top priorities and to work on them.